Hey dear friends, welcome to this video. In this video you're gonna learn how to make this cup of tea with a vapor around it. Okay, so we use just HTML and CSS to build this cup of tea animation. So you know what you want to build. Now let's go to the Visual Code and make it. Okay, let's make a folder. We call it hot cup of tea animated. Let's open the Visual Code and drag and drop this folder inside this. And now, inside of the Visual Code, make an index.html file. And inside this, just write the basic HTML5 structure and give it a title. I give it the title of hot cup of tea animated with HTML and CSS. Inside the body tag, this is where we want to create the structure of the cap. So let's imagine the cap picture. The cap have a plate, a cap, a top, and a circle, and of course the tea itself and the vapor. Okay, that's every element we want to build. But first we want to build them all inside a container. So make a div with a class of container, and we will build every part of the cap inside this container. So what is the first part? The first part is the plate itself. So we make a div with the class of plate, and after that we make another div with the class of cap. This is the actual cap. Okay, and inside this cap we make part of this cap, which is, the first thing is the top of this cap. So we will make a div with the class of top. Okay, and inside this top we have the vapor itself. So make another div with the class of vapor, and inside the vapor we have those vipers. Okay, and for that we use a span. So I do use a span, and inside this span, this will be an empty span, but I give it some style. And what will be the style? I used the CSS variable. If you don't know what is the CSS variable, if you go to Google and search for custom properties CSS variable, this is something like this. We use two dot to make a custom variable inside the CSS, and then later we can use that variable. This is like using SCSS. Okay, but this is something like that to make a variable inside our CSS. If you want me to make a video about this, so let me know in the comment below. If you don't want me to make, just Google and you will learn it. Okay, let's come back to my code. So how you can make a variable? This I don't know what it's called, slash I think, and I say I for my variable name, and I give it a value of 1. This will be my viper, but I need multiple viper to make a nice animation. But for now I just put it for 1, and later I show you what I mean. Okay, after the viper, we just start from here and close here. What I need to do is to create another div with a class of circle, and I use that for the T. So inside it I make another div with a class of T. And what more we need the handle. Okay, so this is my cap, and here I make another div and I give it a class of handle, and this will be the handle of my cap. So this is the structure of my cap. If we save this file and run this with live server, we can't see anything because we didn't give any style. This is an empty structure. So let's give it some style. Now make another file. I call it style.css, and let's link it to my index.html. I link my style.css, save, come back to style. I divide my screen into half so you can see everything on the live server. Okay, and now I'm going to start the designing of this cup of hot tea. Okay, the first thing I have to select everything, and from everything I remove the default design, which is the margin. I put it to 0. I remove the padding also. I also change the box sizing to border box. And after that I select the body, and inside the body I want to display everything in flex, and I want to justify content center. Also align the item center so everything will be at a nice, and I give it a height of 100 VH. Just make the location of the cap at the center of the page. And after that I give it a background color. I already selected a really nice background color for this one, 67D8B. Let's save, and there we go. This is a really nice background. Okay, and after that we have the container. So let's select the container by the class and give it some design. First I want to change its position to relative, and I give it a top of 15 pixel. It will be start from here. Okay, and after that I want to select the cap itself. Okay, the cap. Let's select the cap by the class and give it some design. First I change this position to relative, and after that I give it a width of 218 pixel. This will be the weight of my cap, and I also give it a height 300 pixel, and I give it a background. This background will be linear. Okay, linear gradient, linear gradient, and inside this one I say to right, from left to right. I give it the first color, which is F9, 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 and the second color is D9, D9, D9. Let's save, and this is our cap. Okay, it doesn't look nice now, but we make it nice. After that I give a border at the bottom of this, at the bottom. Okay, sorry, not border bottom, but I want to give it a border bottom left radius. Okay, so it will be a radius at the bottom left. So I cut this part of this cap. So how much I want to cut it? 47%. And there we go, we cut this part of the cap. And we also want to do this, the same thing for this other side. So now you know how to do it. Border and bottom. And now this is the right side. Okay, so right radius, and this one also 45%. And now we got like a cap shape. And after that I want to select the top of this cap. So let's select it, top of this cap, and I want to change its position to absolute. Okay, position to absolute. And after that I give it a top of -3 pixel. I also want to give it a left of 0, and I also want to give it some width, and I want to give it 100% width, so it will be from this part up to there. If you know what is the position absolute and relative, you should understand this very well. If you don't know what are the positions relative, absolute, and etc., please watch a tutorial first, because if you don't know those things, this will be a little bit confusing. Okay, I suggest you to watch a video about CSS position before watching this video. Okay, I gave it a height, and height could be 16 pixel, and I also want to give it a Gradient linear background. So background, and the background will be linear gradient, and I give it to right, from left to right, and I give it the color, and let's give it the same color as we give to the cap. Okay, let's save. You can see right now because it is they are the same color right now. Let's give it a border radius of 15%. Where it is, and now you can see this is actually another section of the my cap, and I cut I give it a radius. You can see the radius in this side because it's located there. Okay, enough talking. Let's make the circle now. Now you understand what I mean. So let's make the, let's see, where is the circle? This is the circle. Okay, let's select the circle, and from the circle I want to change its position to absolute. I give the top 5 pixel, and I also want to give it a left 10 pixel. Let's give it a width. For the width of this one I have to use calculate. So what I want to select everything from 0 to 100% and remove 20 pixel. So 100% minus 20 pixel, and that's the width of the circle. I also want to give it a height, maybe 50 pixel. I also want to give it a background. This will be a linear gradient, and to left, and the same thing. Okay, let's copy this part of code. Okay, let's paste it here, and after that I give it a border radius of 15%, and there we go. As you can see now, we have a nice circle at the top of my cap. If I remove this side, you see what was that? That was the top of the circle. Okay, and with making the circle, I kind of made a hole in my cap. That's how we do it. And the trick is with the background linear color. Okay, if you remove this one, you can't see anything, and this color makes it like there is a hole inside my cap. Okay, and after that, let's make the T. Okay, the T. And how we should make the T? First I need to set its position to absolute, because this is inside this cap. Everything is inside. That's an absolute of the cap. Okay, let's give it the top 20 pixel, and let's give it the left of 0, and give it a width of 100%. I also want to give it a height of 100%, and let's give it a background, and this will be also a linear gradient just like before, but this time we use different colors. C5 7E65, something like that. Yeah, this next color is E2. I memorized these colors, so I have to think about it. E2 8462, I think. Yeah, that's it. This is our T. It doesn't look like a T. Okay, we will fix it, no worries. I give the border radius 15%, and there we go. Now we have kinda T, but it's not the way I want it. Okay, let's add a few more property to my circle. So go to the circle. I change the box sizing to border box, and I also want to add an overflow of hidden. And now there we go. Now my T is inside the cap by just using the overflow. If you remove the overflow, you see this is outside of the cap, but if I add overflow, it is inside the cap. Okay, that's the power of overflow hidden. Okay, after the T, what I want to select the handle and make the handle. So I select the handle by class, and first let's give it a position of absolute, which means this is a part of the cap. Okay, I give it the top 20 pixel, and let's give it a right of -17 pixel, and let's give it a width of 116 pixel, and also want to give it a height of 118 pixel. And after that I also gonna give it a border. The border will be thick, so 25 pixel solid, and I give it a color and DC, and there we go. This is my handle. It doesn't look nice, but we make it nicer, so no worries. After that I wanna give a border left. Okay, border left, border to the left. And what I want to give it a 25 pixel solid transparent. And here we go, we removed the left side of this border, and now it looks like a handle. After that I want to give it a border bottom, 25 pixel solid transparent, and also removed this part of this handle. After that I want to give a border radius, and this will be 15%, and yeah, that looked like a nice handle. I want to transform this one so I can rotate it, so I use rotate. How much I want to rotate it? Maybe 22 degree. Yeah, and that looks really nice. Now we have a nice handle for my cap. Okay, and after that I need to make the plate. Okay, the plate under this cap, so I use the plate with the class, and like before I give it a position of absolute, which means just a part of this cap. I give it a bottom of minus 15 pixel, and also I give it a left of 15%. Let's give it a background color so you can see what I mean, and this will be a linear gradient and to right, from left to right, and I say F9, F9. The second color would be E7. Okay, so you can, to see that I have to give it a width and height, so I give it a width of 500 pixel and a height of 200 pixel, and there we go, we have a plate, but you have to transform it. So let's transform this one. I use transform, and I use translate X, and maybe minus 15%, and now it's under the cap. Okay, I have to give it a border radius 15% to make it like a circle, and there we go, we have a nice plate. But to make it more beautiful, I give it a box shadow 0, 35 pixel RGB. If you don't know what are these values for, there's a video about box shadow in my channel. Make sure to watch that one. I put the link in the description below. 0, 0, 0, 30 and 0.2, and there we go, we have a nice shadow under my plate. Okay, let's make this plate a little bit more beautiful. So I select my plate, and if you know, there is a kind of property before and after, so I use before. I'm gonna give it some design. I give the content of empty, I set the position to absolute, and I give a top of 10 pixel, left of 10 pixel, a right of 10 pixel, and a bottom of 10 pixel. And after that I give it a border radius of 15%, and let's give it a background, and this will be a linear gradient to right, and the color will be the same as the plate. Okay, and we have to do this one more time for the after. So I select after, just like before. I make content empty and a position absolute. Now I change that position. The top would be 13 pixel, and the same thing for the left, 13 pixel, and the right, the left, we give the top left and right 13 pixel, and bottom 13 pixel. And let's give it a background just like before. We don't use linear for this one. For this one maybe I use a radial gradient. If you don't know what are these linear gradient and radial gradient, if you don't know, let me know, I'll make a video about it. RGBA, this will be my first color, so I use RGB for this one. So 0.0.0 and maybe 0.2. Okay, and this will be 25% of my color. The second color will be transparent, and it will also be transparent. Okay, let's save, and there we go. We have a nice kind of shadow under the cap. Now it looks like a nice blade. But let's also give it a border radius of 15%, and now this looks more beautiful, like a shadow on the top of this plate, and it looks like the plate is kinda holy. Okay, something like that. Okay, after that, this is the most important part, the vapor. Okay, we have to design the vapor. So let's select the vapor and let's give it some design. So I set the position to relative. Okay, so it means this is not a part of cap, it can move away from the cap. I want to display everything in a flex, and I also want to give it a z index of 1, so it will be at the top of this cap. And I want to give it a padding of 0 and 20 pixel. Okay, let's save. And after that, if you remember in the HTML when we made the vapor, inside this we made a span, and I said in the style I used the CSS variable minus I, and I give a value 1. What that means, let me show you that now. Let's select the vapor, and from the vapor I select the span, and from the span I give it some design. So I set the position to relative, this is also a relative position. After that I give it a bottom 15 pixel. I want to display everything in black, which means show this one. Okay, and after that I give it a margin 0 for top, 2 pixel for the right, and 50 pixel for the bottom. And after that I give it a main width. The width of this vapor will be 8 pixel. I also want to give it a height of 120 pixel, and I give it a background. So because this is a vapor, of course the background color is white. I give it a border radius 15%, and after that I change its opacity to 0. You can see that right now it's gone. Okay, before doing that, let's change the opacity to 1. I later change it to 0. Before that I give it a filter, and from the filter I want to give it a blur. Okay, this is not filter, it is the filter and blur, and I give it 8 pixel. Now you see it looks like a vapor by using this filter blur. Okay, and I change the opacity again to 0. You can see that right now it's gone. Okay, and after that, because we want to animate this vapor, I make animation. I use this animation, and I give it the animation name, which will be animate, and the duration will be 5 seconds, and it will be linear, and it should be infinitive. It will happen again and again each 5 seconds, and we have to make this animate keyframe. Okay, for doing that I make a cam here and I make a keyframe by using keyframes. I put the animation name, which was animate, and I give some animation in here. Okay, how we can do that, how we can make animation? So we have to give animation from 0% to 100%. so the first one will be 0%. What should happen from 0%? So inside this bracket I say I want to use the transform. I want to translate this, translate y. I want to translate, okay, let's do it again. Why it doesn't work? Transform and translate y. I want to use the translate y and I give it a value of 0, and the scale of x would be 1. This is where my cap starts with. Okay, and I also want to change the opacity to 0. So at the start we don't change anything, we start from the 0 location, and the scale would be 1, and the opacity, which means the vapor, would be height. And when it reach 50%, the pips is in percentage of 5 seconds, what I want now, I want to change the opacity to 1. Now I can see the vapor. Okay, you can see it's already start animating. Okay, and after that what I want to do, I want to say when animation reach to 15%, what should it do? I want to use the transform and translate y. I want to change its location to minus 115 pixel, and I also want to change the scale to 5. It's like vaporizing, it's coming top and then the scale is becoming big. Let's see how it looks like. You see, it's coming from the bottom to the top and the scale is expanding. It's like kind of vapor. Okay, and when my animation reached 95%, I want to change the opacity again to 0. Let's see, it's gone. Okay, this kind of remove my vapor. And when it reaches 100%, what I want to do, I want to transform and translate y, and I want to send back to the where it was. So I use minus 300 pixel, and so I want to change the scale. Okay, I want to move it further away, and let's change the scale x. Okay, let's use the Excel X for here also, and I want to expand it more, maybe 2 times bigger than what it is right now. So I use 10, and let's save, and now it's kinda nice vapor. But as you can see, this is very small. What should I do? If you come back to our HTML file, inside my vapor def we have a span. If we had more span and I give it value of 2, then we have a little bit more vapor, and just like that I can make more of these values. I give it 3, and I copy this one, and let's change the value to 16. Okay, I can't see anything right now. Why I added already 3 span, but I don't see anything, because I have to apply this one to my CSS. Okay, how we can do that? Inside my vapor span I give the animation, but there is one more property, which is animation delay. Where it is, this is, I want to add a delay, so it's kind of a lot of vapors and it makes my animation really nice. So it's calculation for this one. Okay, calculation, because I used variable in my style, I can use that one here. How we can use it? By using var, which means the variable, and inside that variable put the name of your variable. In my case this is minus I, so just use the name of that variable, minus I. And if I plus this one with maybe 1 second, and let's save. Okay, Okay, not plus but times this one, maybe 0 minus 0.5 second, and there we go. We have a lot of viper right now. You see there's one viper here, one here, and if I increase the values of this spans, let's make another one. This one should be 5. Make it random, okay? Make random values, make it 13, and save. And then we have a lot of these vipers. Okay, I already made few spans. Let's copy paste that one and let's save. And then we have a lot of vipers, and that is a hot cap of T with vipers. You can play with these values. For example, if I change this value to maybe 2 seconds, now okay, it's already gone. Maybe no, it's not gone. It's much slower. You can change these values and play with this one, but all in all, we made a cool cap of T with a viper animation. It's really nice and unbelievable. We made it with just HTML and CSS. So in this video you also learned few things. You learned how to animate things, you learned about CSS variables and etc. I hope you guys learned something. Make sure to do some exercise, maybe change the color of this cap, maybe change the shape of cap, change the way the viper goes, and etc. You can imagine whatever and apply it, so improve your CSS skill. Okay guys, so I hope you learned something from this video. If you learned something from this video, make sure to press that like button, subscribe and press the bell icon. Have a great time my friends.